Hi there, it's Jeanette for Whimsy Stamps. Today I have another Halloween card to share with you, and this one features the new die Headless Horseman that was just released this month, and I've created a fun sort of scene to put the silhouette of the Headless Horseman in front of, and I love this die cut Beware. It comes with the set as well. So I'm going to share with you how I created this card. It was quick and easy and a lot of fun. So here's the die set. What I did was I took a piece of BRISTOL Strathmore watercolor paper and I cut that down to measure 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm just putting my craft mat here so I don't mess up my other mat. And I had this circle already cut out on some Eclipse paper, so I just wanted to make sure it was the right size. And I'm taking some Hero Arts soft yellow ink and I'm just sort of putting it where I know that I'm going to be putting the moon. And then I decided to cut out a new mask, and I used Inkadinkado masking paper because it has a bit of a stronger adhesive. Stuck that in the middle of my card, and I'm going to start sponging on some different inks. So this one is Seedless Preserves, and I'm just sort of working in a circular motion all around where the moon is. And once I have built up enough intensity, I'll move on to the next color, which was Stormy Sky, which I don't use very often, but when I saw the name I thought it was kind of perfect for this card. So I'm going to be putting that on along the edges and then moving in towards where the Seedless Preserves were. And I'm just going gradually building up my color. At this point it never looks great. It sort of looks like a huge mess, but bear with me as we progress and as we layer on more inks and then distress it with water, it's going to create a beautiful scene. Next color here is Chip Sapphire, so a deeper blue. Working that in from the edges towards the middle, and I'm not covering totally the area where the other two inks were, so that way the middle seems a little bit lighter. And then finally I'm using some black soot and just putting that along the edges here, and that really just darkens it up enough and gives this whole scene dimension. And I apologize for my camera going in and out of focus. I don't know really what's happening there. So once that was all done, I took my distress sprayer, it's filled with some water, and I just spritzed the whole thing. I let it sit for a few seconds, and then I took a paper towel and just dabbed away the water, and you can see it distresses it. And I thought I needed a little bit more, so I spritzed it again. I got a lot of ink all over my fingers there. Then I'm just going to pull up the mask for the moon. And when I did that, it just seemed way too perfect and too bright. So I just used that paper towel. I sort of dabbed some of the ink that's on the paper towel over the moon, and it still didn't darken it up enough, so I did end up spraying it again. And once it was sprayed, I then dabbed it again, and it sort of gave enough sort of coloration over the moon to make it look like craters, so I was happy with that. Now I'm taking the nested rectangles from Whimsy. I'm lining them up on some black cardstock, the large one and the second largest one together, and that creates a nice frame. And then I'm using this metal shim with the inside part of that black cardstock and cutting out the Headless Horseman. So those are the pieces that cut out with the Headless Horseman. I'm going to start putting my card together now. Putting quite a bit of tape here because I want to make sure it sits nicely on my card base. Now I'm going to be putting on some of this Simon Says Stamp foam adhesive. I just bought it. It's the first time I've used it actually. What I find is that it's extremely sticky. So I was able to sort of cut it in half because it was too wide to go on the frame part. So I cut it in half, then I put it on each side. I'm just tearing off the release paper here. When I went to put it on my card, it just stuck right away and there was no budging it. So you have to be very careful. It's not very forgiving. It sticks really well, but you can't sort of fudge or move it around after you've put it down. Now I ended up having, because I wasn't smart and I used a white card base, I had that sort of white line along the edge that you could see on the top. So I just took a Copic N3 marker and just colored a line there so that you don't see the white. So now I'm going to be able to start adhering my components, and I felt like there was something missing. So what I did is I took these cloud punches from Fiskars. I have a small one and a large one, and I cut out some shapes, cloud shapes of vellum with those punches. And that was like enough to add a little bit of something on the card. I thought it looked really nice. So now I'm going to glue everything down. I'm going to be using my Nuvo liquid adhesive. I'm going to pick up that first word. I'm using a piece of cardstock that I laminated so it's nice and smooth, and I'm just dabbing the glue on the back side of the sentiment. You can see it there. I'm going to stick it right over where the cloud is, press down, and then I'm going to be adding adhesive to the vellum right behind where the letters are. That way the adhesive is not going to show through the vellum, but the vellum is going to stick really well. I'm going to do the same type of idea here. I'm just going to add adhesive to the vellum where it's going to be covered by the die or the die cut, and then I'm going to add adhesive all to the back side of this. With this die, I find that you could use it in either sort of direction. You could sort of flip it around if you wanted it to go the other way as well. Just going to add now a block on top of that so that it dries flush to the cardstock. It's not going to budge afterwards. Once it was dry, I took a white gel pen and I just added a few dots, some larger, some smaller, a few little stars scattered here and there, just to really highlight the idea that it's a very sort of spooky, starry sky. And that's it. My card is done. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed watching me create this card using the new die from Whimsy Stamps, and I hope it inspires you to create one of your own. For a full list of supplies and links to the products that I used, you can look behind or below this video on YouTube, or you can go onto my blog. Thank you so much for watching.